Breaker of the Chain, King of the Andals. Funchal, Madeira, a small Portuguese island, far from the cameras, far from the stadiums. This is where Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro was born, the youngest of 4 children, in a home so small the family often didn't have enough to eat. His father worked as a gardener and kitman for a local club, earning barely enough to survive. His mother once considered ending the pregnancy because they couldn't afford another child. That's the chain. That's where the story was supposed to end before it began. By every rule this world quietly enforces, the postcode you're born in decides the ceiling you'll hit. But Ronaldo never read that rule. Or maybe he read it and simply refused to sign it. At 6 years old, he was already playing with kids twice his size, refusing to stop even when he was outmatched. At 12, he left home, alone, to join Sporting Lisbon's academy, hundreds of miles from his family, from everything familiar. Homesickness nearly broke him. Teammates remember a boy who cried at night but never once cried on the pitch. Then, at 15, doctors found a racing heart condition, a defect that could have ended football for him permanently, maybe worse. Most careers, most childhoods would have stopped right there. He had the surgery. Weeks later, he was back on the field. That's the first link in the chain. Broken. While teammates went home, he stayed on the training pitch. While others rested, he added extra gym sessions no coach assigned him. Because he is not gifted like other players, he is just a hard worker who wakes up and day and night to break the chain of what most people in the world believed in. He rebuilt his body from the ground up over years: diet, recovery, sleep, strength, turning himself deliberately into an athlete built to outlast time itself. Decades later, in his 40s, he's still starting matches that men half his age can't finish. Nobody hands you that. You choose it, every morning, when no one's watching and nothing's forcing you to. Every era of his career, the chain tried to close around him again. He's too small for the big leagues, they said in Lisbon. He's flashy, but he'll never be consistent, they said in Manchester. He's past his prime, they've said for over a decade now. Every single time, the answer wasn't an argument, it was work. Another season, another record, another sprint back on defense in the 90th minute of a game already decided, because quitting was never part of the deal he made with himself. And that brings us to Dallas, Texas, July 6, 2026. 41 years old, his 6th World Cup. A last-minute goal from Spain ends Portugal's run, and with it, his story at football's biggest stage. He stood on that field, visibly emotional, and said something simple: that he gave everything he had, and he was leaving with a clear conscience. No excuses, no blaming fate, no chain to point to. Because the chain was never really about circumstances. It was about whether you keep pulling against it, year after year, long after the world stops expecting you to. So back to that old saying, you cannot outrun what you were born into. Maybe that's true for people who stop trying. But somewhere in Madeira, a boy from nothing decided that sentence didn't apply to him. Not because he was born different, but because he refused every single day to accept the ending that was supposedly already written. That's not talent. That's not luck. That's the sound of a chain breaking.